B-movies rose to prominence in the 70s and 80s as an answer to the question, what is the cheapest thing we can get away with? They were put on the back half of double features, so they were less watched, but they were more provocative to get people to stay. They were ugly, poorly lit, sensationalist, violent. They're notably different from indie movies in the way that they feel. Indie movies like Clerks feel different than B movies like Chopping Mall. So, my question, and it's a lot of people's question, what about video games? In case you don't know, it is possibly the worst time to be a game developer in history. Microsoft recently laid off 9,000 employees and shut down a lot of studios. This means Facebook and LinkedIn are flooded with senior designers and developers who are looking for work, which is also true of entry-level designers. What happens to the people who just graduated college with a worthless degree trying to enter the industry, now having to compete with people who've been making games for 20 years? I talk to a lot of game developers, and the thing I always hear is now is not the right time. Maybe in the future it will be. Maybe 2030, it'll be the perfect time to be a game developer in your 30s. But now is not that time. So what do? The common knowledge is to make an indie game. Problem with that is indie games are too good. Think of an indie game: Celeste, Spelunky, Five Nights at Freddy's. A little deeper: Peak, Fly Night. The problem is these are good games, and a solo developer or a small team probably can't make something like that. So they have to ask, what's the cheapest thing we can get away with? So what are B games? What do they look like? A B game in my head is something that is made quickly, cheaply. Maybe it's ugly, maybe it's provocative, and kind of fly under the radar as being weird. Here are a few of my favorites that I just kind of want to show off. So go back to the past with me to the dawn of B games on a website called Newgrounds. A 19-year-old recently uploaded their parody of Final Fantasy called Epic Battle Fantasy, and it's awesome. I cannot think of a more Newgrounds game than this. It features a self-insert, it features Final Fantasy characters, and it also has Goku. This game spawned a bunch of sequels, it now has a studio, it has some spin-offs that are very good. This was made before RPG Maker, so they had to do this all in Flash. The game is completely free on Newgrounds. Brazilian Drug Dealer 3. I opened a portal to hell in the favelas trying to revive MIT, i.e. need to close it. Is a game a lot of people are talking about. It was made in the Quake engine, and it is loud. It is ugly. It is poorly lit. It is confusing. I am not Brazilian. Maybe it would make more sense if I was, but this game has so much going on. It is so strange. It boldly asks the question, what if John Romero did crack cocaine? Or alternatively, what if video games were good? This, I believe, is a perfect game. It's $3 on Steam and there's a demo. It's a lot of fun. Hyper Hell is the culmination of 3 years of work by Yancy, who had been releasing top-down shooters since 2020 with their first game, Grungo Kill Shoot. Hyper Hell is amazing. Hyper Hell is like 100 Gex meets Hotline Miami meets a solo dev meets MS Paint. It pushes the envelope. It rips ass. It boldly goes in a direction nobody else would. It is the only game that ever reminded me of Schizocore on TikTok. It has you fighting Ronald Reagan, the Queen of England, Margaret Thatcher. It doesn't play like a game should, and I've never played a game like it, but I have played a lot of this game. It's completely free on Steam and itch, and it just makes me smile. I made a B game a little while ago. It was called Sharks of Doom. It wasn't really violent, but it was silly and old, and it took me about a month. I made all the assets myself. I was pretty proud of it. I sent it out, got a little more reception than I'm used to, and it was a lot of fun. What making it did, though, is it scratched an itch that I needed scratched. I often don't have a goal to work towards and problems to solve, but the B game let me be strange with my design. It asked me What is the next weirdest thing you can do? And can you do it? I tried to answer the call, and it meant a lot to me, but I haven't made one since. When I feel hopeless about the games industry, I think about Roger Corman.
The film industry will always exist, but it will no longer be the film industry. I think of it as an industry, a business, and an art form. Today, the business end of it has become more powerful than the art form. I think what we need to save it is to remember that this is an art form as well as a business. You can't continually spend 100 or 200 million on a superhero picture. You've got to at least let some films come through that are closer to art.